It takes place in a Catholic high school, and the main story is two male students who are in love with each other.
It's about their journey and learning to become comfortable with who they are and who the world thinks they should be.
Throughout the entire show is their struggle between their faith and what they were raised on and what they know is right, between that and their feelings for each other and what they feel is right.
Jason is the pretty boy, #1 student, always best at everything without even trying.
He can do no wrong. Everybody loves him. The guys want to be him. The girls want to do him.
But he's also gay, and he's not where Peter is in the show. And most of the story is him just even coming to terms with the fact that he is gay. Peter is at a point in his life where he's definitely more comfortable with who he is, and definitely has come to terms with himself with being gay. And I think he's just trying to find the courage at this point to just be like, this is who I am, so deal with it, of not being totally comfortable in his skin.
Andrew Simic, who plays Peter, is probably one of the best performers that I've seen around the area in a long time. And the vulnerability that he gives this character is so incomparable. I think the story follows Peter and Jason pretty equally. I think this story mainly focuses on Jason's struggles, but I think it's Peter who actually goes through the biggest transformation, because he kind of starts off the show exactly where Jason is, kind of okay hiding things, and throughout the show you see him kind of blossom and become more comfortable with who he is, and it's that comfort that I think freaks Jason out a little bit, because Jason's not at that point yet.
Not all tales have happy endings, we can't keep pretending, because there's no such thing as heroes who are queer.
There's two other roommates in the show, Ivy and Nadia. Ivy is the pretty popular girl on the outside, but deep down she's really actually insecure with who she is, and she just kind of uses her prettiness and her popularity as a shield.
And all she wants to do is just find love from someone.
And then there's Nadia, who is sardonic.
Basically has been told her whole life that she's not good enough, so as a result she is very sarcastic and harsh.
She uses that to cover up. She's a little overweight, and she's self-conscious about that, so she uses that as to cover up.
You do see her insecurities, like in the quiet night at home. She really just breaks down and is like, why does nobody like me? Why am I not good enough?
The dynamic between Ivy and Nadia is pretty typical for the popular girl and the outcast girl.
They do not like each other at all, and I think it's because they're both insecure about themselves, so they take it out on each other.
What I think is that her and Ivy were really good friends when they were little, and then they just grew and took different paths. Ivy kind of, she has her own insecurities, but she went the different way as to display herself a little more, and so it's kind of the two polar opposites, where Nadia kind of tries to hide everything and Ivy just lets everything out there.
And in trying to cover it up, Jason begins this relationship with Ivy.
The relationship that they have is something that they both kind of want, but I don't think it's real, especially coming from Jason's side. I mean, I think he tries, but you can try so much with something and it's just not there. But I think with Peter, he doesn't have to try, it's just there. I mean, if anything, he just tries to cover it up and tries to be something different.
Matt is the friend who is forever stuck in the friend zone.
Never coming in first, nice guys finish last.
He is in love with Ivy, but it's never returned. She's always kind of toying with him.
He's also kind of sort of a goody-goody, I guess. He isn't really one to break the rules. He's just a really nice guy, and he is the one that's responsible for kind of outing Jason and Peter's secret.
Peter's mom, Claire, is an interesting character because she's definitely from a strict conservative Catholic viewpoint, and she sings this very beautiful song after Peter comes out to her about just what to do with her life, where she's not so much ashamed about her son being gay as she's worried that life just got that much harder for him simply because of his lifestyle.
And where was the warning? His father will die. How can I tell him he can't see me cry?
As leaders in these kids' lives, there are two characters, the priest and Sister Chantal, and they were both raised as people of God, but each of them have very, very different viewpoints, and where Sister Chantal uses her faith for love, the priest is a little bit more conflicted by it and uses it more for as a fear motivator than anything, and it's very obvious throughout the show where it's two people who have been taught the exact same things but got two very different viewpoints from it, which I think is really smart to do, especially in this day and age where people are so divided on how to interpret the Bible and things like that. I'm not really worried that people will perceive this as controversial. Yes, it does have some bad language in it, and yes, it's dealing with subject matter that isn't something that is necessarily family friendly, but the story is a story everyone should hear, and I think because these are real people with real issues, they talk and act like real people with real issues.
Like Mike said at our first rehearsal, was every single person can relate to one of these main characters, whether you're insecure about something, you're hiding something, you have feelings for someone that they don't return. So I think it's going to be really relatable for everybody. Besides the main story of the two students, there's just so many backstories that even if somebody is not gay or doesn't know what that's like, they're going to still relate to the show.
It's a pretty accurate depiction of high school and college these days. And I think that people need to understand a little more in depth into the lives of younger people than just what's on the outside.
The message is more important than
the content.
Like with what Next to Normal did, with a show that's so real, people can look at it and just they see somebody that they know in it, or they just see so much realness that's in the show.
I think it's extremely eye-opening, even especially for me, who was raised in the church and have my own beliefs, that not everything is black and white.
Religion is not black and white. Sexuality is not black and white. There's so many gray areas that people sort of fall into.
prevalent today in our society because everyone should be able to be who they are and not worry about what other people think. It's not just about being gay, it's about anyone that's different.
I'm very nervous for people to see it just because, I mean, when everybody else gets done with this show, they can go back to their real lives and it's kind of different than how they are in the show, but I think for me this is my real life and it's a little bit harder to put on display in front of a bunch of people. This show needs to happen because people need to realize that these are real things that happen to real people. A lot of things like this get kind of pushed to the side, or people roll their eyes or whatever, and a lot of times they just think it's a choice, and I don't know why anybody would choose such a hard choice to have to go through. I think people in the audience just need to see that this is real life for some of us, and it's a little bit more difficult to put out there.
It's awful that stuff like this happens. It's awful that people are going to relate to this because perhaps that happened to them. That sucks. But the awareness, bringing awareness to it is one of the first steps in a positive direction. And I think stories like this kind of bring hope that one day we can live in a world where we aren't so divided and people are accepted